people today do not know what happened during that time of our lives, and that they should know what went on behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and during the scenes. And because of people like Dr. Leitz that were sent to our rescue, so to speak, that the good Lord meant to save us.
One Camera, One Life recounts and documents the long-kept secret and little-told story of how the courageous Leitz family put themselves and their company at risk to save Jews from the Holocaust, projecting a ray of hope and humanitarianism during the darkest era of human history.
Hitler was elected in 1933, and the Nazis took over the town and hung out the swastika flag out of City Hall and openly put newspapers on the wall showing caricatures of Jews and talking about all Jews should be killed.
Well, it was very difficult being a Jewish boy in Germany because of the rising anti-Semitism there. They wanted to blame the Jews for everything.
I could not think of being Jewish as anything else other than that was the religion, just like my friends were Catholic or Protestant. One teacher who was very, very anti-Semitic was constantly complaining that I was giving too many answers. And one time when he was, when I was raising my hand many times because I had the answers and I raised my hand and wanted to be heard, he yelled out and says, "Does the Jew have to know everything?" And after that I never answered anymore.
I went to school in a school in Frankfurt that my father went to, my grandfather had been to, and the headmaster was a friend of my father's, and he called him up one day and said, "Do you know that your son will not be allowed to finish school there?" This was in 1935.
The teacher, who was very sympathetic to me, said, "You better quit school."
They had rounded up all of the elite of the Jewish households and brought the men into a meeting house of sorts and told them that they needed to leave Germany. And of course they didn't pay attention, as quite a few Germans didn't think anything of it. They were Germans first and Jews second, and they were not about to leave Germany.
Dr. Leitz, who was a friend of his, since he had a camera department in his department store in Germany, in Frankfurt, suggested that I go to his school in London for a few days to get a basic photographic education, and then he'd find me a job in a camera store. Things gotten worse, and after November the 11th, which was the night of crystal, broken crystal, my father and my uncle both got into the concentration camp of Buchenwald.
I raced all over the town and saw that there were trucks being loaded up with people. Wherever they found a Jewish house, they already had marked them off in advance as to where they were, and they picked up the men. My father went away, and before he went away, I told him, when you call up, you ask, "How is Aunt Betty?" If Aunt Betty is still sick, you don't come home. And if Aunt Betty is well, you can come home. But in the meantime, don't come back.
My father's name was Hans, and my uncle's name was Gustav. They got out. They got out. My mother got them out because the American visa had come through.
My father called. We told her Aunt Betty is not well. And on the 12th of November, he came home because he also didn't like to be away from home. And within a half hour after he was home, he was picked up. He showed his military pass to the Gestapo people that came with their big black boots and showed them that he's a soldier and is decorated. And they said, "Well, it's protective custody. We must take you." That's the last I ever saw of him. He gave me his wallet and other things that I still have. And eventually we found out that he went to Dachau, and on the 12th of December, we had a phone call, and I heard my mother screaming, and the message was by telegram: if you wish to have the body, send 500 marks.
My father had to get over this visit in the concentration camp. Visit, my eye, but it was and he had a nervous breakdown, and he recovered at my boarding house in London.
There was a correspondence from Germany that said Mr. So-and-so and so-and-so is coming to New York, and he is interested in joining an optical company, let's say Wollensack or Eastman Kodak or whatever. Would you introduce him with your recommendations that we are passing on to you? So we kind of were, or at least my boss was an intermediary for these people. They didn't actually stay or work at Leitz, New York. They were just there for a day or two or sometimes a week, and then they would be sent to someplace else.
We arrived here on March the 4th, 1939, and which was on a Wednesday, I believe. And on Monday, I was working in a photo lab in Richmond, Virginia.
We were told he was on such and such a ship, and I was told to go and pick him up at the pier, which I did.
I wouldn't be here if Dr. Leitz hadn't helped my parents to start a new existence over here.
They belonged to a family. That's really what it was. The Leitz family extended itself to the employees.
He thought that what the Nazis were doing to the Jews was wrong, and he tried to make amends that way.
We're definitely here because of the Leitz family, because they did play such a huge part in getting my family out of Germany.
When you are good, or you're singled out for something good, Dr. Leitz was the instrument that was being used to help you. And he, man upstairs, looks after you by sending you people like Dr. Leitz in your life.
The entire management of Leitz was imbued by the Leitz tendency to take care of people and to let the heart speak for itself.
You should be decent to all people. That's the lesson.